As I got another rhyme, another rhythm for y'all to listen. I'm never quitting on my mission. I'ma roll with what I'm giving. Got some ambition, this new edition, filling positions. Looking at the void in myself and feeling what's missing. Better watch the way you going. Better go in the right direction. In the moment you stressing, but you gon' be counting blessings. And I know that for certain. Keep on working, open curtains. Haters swerving, cause they ain't ready for your final version. Whoa. I'm never gonna give up. Fall down, I just gotta get up, yeah. Cause this is my road. Let's camera action, I'm ready to go.
You're listening to the Tom Ficklin Show on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
Good morning. Happy Friday to all. This is the first Friday of the new year, so we like to wish everybody a happy new year. And always we like to thank Tom Ficklin first, who is the one that gives us the opportunity to do this talk show, which we call Real Talk, which is a talk show based on dealing with community issues that are pertinent to our local community. One thing that we always make sure we understand is that we are up here to be solution-oriented. There'll be a lot of discussions that we'll have over this year on the first Friday, but I just want everybody to understand that we're here for the purpose of making sure that our community grows. So it brings me with great delight to have and host this show today, which is speaking on an issue that is very pertinent in our local community. We're going to talk about the Million Jobs campaign from the NAACP. And one of the first things I like to talk about is the fact that being part of the NAACP and being connected helped me as an individual. I was one of the individuals who in 1997, I came home from incarceration. It was very hard to find a job with a blemish on my record. And it was individuals from the NAACP that took me in and helped me to be able to get my life back on track and to be able to be a productive individual. So this program and this initiative that has been started by the Connecticut State NAACP, it'll be another main initiative that we can use in our local community to do the same thing, giving individuals second chances at life to get their lives correct and to be able to work gainfully. So I have the executive assistant of the Connecticut NAACP branches, Carly Knox, with me today, and the coordinator of this program, also that'll be working hand in hand with Carly, is Mr. Corey Betts. And so we're going to get into the discussion that's going to explain what the Million Jobs campaign is about. I'm going to let Carly start off. Carly's going to give you a little background history of how this all got started, and then we'll get in a robust discussion on how individuals in our local community can be involved, what steps you have to take to be involved in the program, and just make sure that we kind of cover things that let you know what the program is truly about. So I'll turn it over at this time to Carly.
Good morning, everybody. So the 1 Million Jobs campaign is an initiative that's going to help people in Connecticut and, pretty soon throughout the nation get jobs for people who've been formerly incarcerated or who have a blemish on their record. Our job, my job and Corey's job, we're community outreach coordinators. So when you call the 1 Million Jobs campaign number, we pick up the phone. We plug you into agencies to help you get you job training, resume writing, or whatever you may need to help gain employment. And then we push your resumes and applications to the different employers that we have partnerships with.
Okay, Carly, can you give them just a little bit of the history of how it all got started and kind of a little bit of some of the companies that have signed on board and really what that means in that process?
Sure. So the companies currently that we have on board are Yale New Haven Hospital. They've designated a percentage of their jobs to people who come through our program. We're in the works with CVS and Amazon, partnerships with CVS and Amazon as well. And what started this program is to help the community. President Esdale, who's not with us today, he started this program. He wanted his pilot city to be here in New Haven, Connecticut. And he plans on to branch off to different cities in Connecticut as well.
Okay, and I think, that's very important for people to understand. And we just want to give his accolades. Scott X is the president of the Connecticut State NAACP. He's also a national board member, but this initiative was actually driven from his other position of being the national chair of the Criminal Justice Committee. And so as we think about things that happen in our local communities and throughout, our United States with especially violence prevention right now, a lot is tailored with the fact that these young gentlemen and young women don't get a second chance at being able to have gainful employment. So a little bit of the background of the particular collaborations is Scott was able to look at where we find at Johns Hopkins that they were able to take a percentage of the jobs that they had and to be able to designate them to individuals who have been incarcerated and have blemishes. So he's emulating that here. And the first major connection was with Yale New Haven Hospital, who has designated 500 jobs to individuals who are having records and have been incarcerated formerly. So Corey, can you just speak a little bit about your perspective of being involved in the whole initiative and understanding and helping the audience understand how important that is for individuals that has an opportunity to get a second chance, that it's not a normal thing. It doesn't normally happen this way.
So thanks for having me, Owen. And big shouts out to Scott Xdell, our state conference president, really pushing this initiative. And Scott is really heavy on numbers. So, he looked at back, like according to the Prison Policy Institute, 10% of Connecticut's population identifies as Black and 13 as Latino, yet they represent 41 and 29 respectively of the incarcerated population. So he's saying, okay, now listen, and now in Connecticut, now Black and Latinos are overrepresented, that he would always talk about. And when it comes to, the systemic barriers of them obtaining employment, he said, well, hold up. If all these individuals are, coming out, because what it was back in, I think it was 2016, it was 12,000 individuals that were in prison. And in 2019, they wanted to get it down to, I believe, 8,000. So that's, 4,000 that was coming home. And nearly half of those were on parole and they were unemployed. So how do we stop that recidivism and making sure that individuals don't return back to being incarcerated? So Scott, spoke highly on those numbers. And he said a good job was a predictor that an individual will not reoffend. So those were the important pieces. What can we do to make sure that individuals weren't returning back to prison, right? And, it was a lot of programs that was pushing on the Second Chance Initiative, but individuals weren't getting jobs. So he said, how could we, close that gap to making sure individuals are able to get jobs after all the training that they went to? So he said, okay, let's go to the employers and make sure that these employers are allowing these individuals at least a chance to come in front of them to show them that they are capable and they have the skills that are needed for those individuals to work within those big organizations and corporations.
Thank you. And that's very important. And so one of the thoughts that you talked about is the recidivism. And we know that in our local communities, that has been a problem. Individual goes to jail, they return from incarceration, they do their time, they give their commitment back to the time that they had, and now they come home and they're not able to find a job. And we all know too well what happens. A lot of times the individual, after the frustration of not finding a job for enough of time, returns back to the street, where, of course, law enforcement would recognize them very readily. Before long, they're caught back up in the system and they go back away. And we also have to talk to this from a holistic standpoint of the family circle.
Exactly.
making sure that the males are there to help raise and mentor our males that are up and coming. And so that's very important. And this allows us to close that gap, keeping our males as well as our females gainfully employed. And now, as you talked about the numbers, Corey, help them to understand how, if you think about it, if we get 500 jobs at the Yale New Haven Hospital at 30,000, what do those numbers help to show that it comes right back to the community?
Well, again, you have individuals who live in those communities. And again, it's all about, the economic status in our communities. So how do you build economically, right? If we are able to generate money within our communities are built up. And, again, poverty is going to bring crime, right? So if we can eliminate that poverty, where though at least folks are living some type of a sustainable life, now they're able to live in it, and they have pride in their communities because now they're able to spend and live somewhat of a decent life. So that's very important. This is something dear and near to my heart. As you know, I've been formerly incarcerated, and I have had those struggles, and I see how doors were shut on individuals because of, once they were sentenced, it became a life sentence. Why would you, once they pay their debt to society, they should still have the same opportunities as any other individual who's in our society, so that, again, our communities can strive and be strong. So I think that's very important.
And it's interesting because this is probably, as we talk about being solution oriented, this is about the fourth show that I had that I feel touched on violence prevention issues. But this is the first show that actually had something or initiative that's going to work along with the community to make sure that those changes come. And Carly, along that line, could you just give individuals once again the process of how they would get involved in the Millions Jobs campaign?
Yeah, so you can go to our website. It's millionjobscampaign.com and fill out our application. The application should take you no more than 10 minutes to complete. Once your application has been completed, it'll come to my desk and Corey's desk. And then either one of us will reach out to you and get to know, your wants and your needs and your goals. We'll then plug you in with an agency where an agency will help you with job training and resume writing. And once you've been vetted by your agency that we've referred you to, we then will forward over all of your job applications and resume over to the employer that you would like to be employed with.
Okay, and let me just give them that number so that they have it. It's 888-693-4689. Once again, that phone number that you need to call to be able to sign up for the Million Jobs campaign is toll-free number 888-693-4689. And we want to really make sure everybody understands that it is a process. So have a little patience with it. This is a pilot program that's starting out in the New Haven area. And Scott wanted to make sure it started here because this is where he grew up at. He could have chose any city in the nation to start. He could have started in Chicago. He could have started in Detroit, Philly, but he wanted to come to his hometown and represent this first. And so we want to take full advantage of that privilege. You should now, as you're walking throughout our community, starting to see the signs, lawn signs. There's a heavy advertisement that's going to be going on. Look at your local barbershops and your beauty salons for flyers. There's going to be a social media campaign that's going to be taking off pretty soon. I know that Juan Castillo over at 94.3 has put together commercials. And so we want to start really advertising this to where our community fully benefits from it. We don't want to leave any stone unturned. So anybody who wants to leave any type of suggestions on how they think we can get the word out, where we can be to be able to help people understand about the program, feel free to drop something in our inbox to give any kind of helpful suggestion or places where you feel that we need to be able to talk to people about this. Along with just the regular advertisement and then the website and all that, what would we really want our community to continue to do to help us to really promote and advertise this initiative? What are some suggestions you guys would have for them?
Definitely let individuals know that, you know, there's opportunity out there, right? And like you said, you know, there is a process, right? And take advantage, right? You know, there now you have, you know, one of the biggest organizations in our nation, oldest and the boldest, that's pushing this, that's, you know, really making sure that these organizations are really, you know, putting their money where their mouth is, saying that, you know, they're all about helping our community. So now is the time for you to really, you know, step out and stand behind the supports that you have, right?
And what would be our response to some of the naysayers? Because you know they're going to be around and they're going to say, "Oh well, you know, I called the number, and you guys didn't call me right back," and
Process,
you know.
you know, to your point, and you said it, like this is a pivot, right? We're and lived in a perfect world, everything would be perfect. We wouldn't be here. People would have jobs, right? So, you know, respect the process and know that we're working and we're doing our best to making sure that we're connecting the dots so that everybody has that opportunity to employ live. And it was something you said too, Mo, and I have to say this, you know, when you look at right now, even in this pandemic, you know, there's an increase in job opportunity and training. So take advantage of that, right? And then, you know, you have to your point, it's all about the family, right? So once those individuals who have been incarcerated in our home or who have blemishes on their record, it don't just help them, it helps the whole family. Like is that ripple effect, right? So again, in that ripple effect, just step out and don't be afraid because a lot of people are, you know, we have those fears. Just get out there and naysayers, you know, again, this is a solution base. If you have issues or if you have anything that you see is lacking, say something about it. Like, and that's the only way that things are, you know, we can change that narrative, right? You know, don't be a part of the problem, but be a part of the solution.
And that's the main thing here at Real Talk that we always really want to stress. We always want to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. We don't get up here pointing fingers at any different organizations or one individual who's in any leadership position. We're here to work and help together and bring back that family and village image to our local community. And Carly, just explain just on your daily routine of just working at the Connecticut NAACP office is what are some of the things that you've been able to see that this daily interaction with people helps gain confidence for people to get back on the right road?
So people give the 888 number. They call all the time, asking questions about the program, and the people who have been calling in seem very eager and ready to work. And Corey and I were definitely here to help people who call in and fill out that application. And like Corey said, it's a process, and please be patient because we're working around the clock trying to make this initiative and this program moving.
Are there some best times to call and best days to call? I know people may have those questions.
It's definitely best to call between 9 and 6, 9 a.m. and 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Those are the best times to call this number. If you don't get an answer the first time, call again. 9 times out of 10, I might be on the phone with someone else who's called in, or I might be in a meeting. But just continue to call in until someone picks up the phone.
And once again, that number is 888 693 4689. That's 888 693 4689. So I want to go back to Corey because Corey, you brought up something interesting. And, you know, as I look at it, as we're two individuals here on this call today who have been incarcerated and had to have the courage to come back out and get our lives back together. But just tell me, as your journey through coming back and being a productive citizen, what were some of the key issues and people that were able to help you to be able to have that strength to be where you are now? Because I know sometimes a lot of our young people are worried about all, the different trials and tribulations that they will have to come to get to this point. Because I'm sure when you guys success after a person calls, everybody's not going to be on the same level at the same time. So how is that really a factor in how the process goes?
So, the real piece of it is you have those who have come before us who would be incarcerated and come home and live somewhat of a decent life. So being able to having that dialogue with them, and the unfortunate thing, our habit is we have to see it to believe it, right? So when you're able to see an individual who have had those struggles come through, and now they're able to obtain employment and live somewhat of a decent life, it gives you that hope and that inspiration to go ahead on and continue to move forward, right? So that's what helped me, connecting with individuals and listening and taking advice, because coming from those spaces, we think we know everything, right? And I had to set that to the side because I didn't, right? And it was just being open to, taking advice to those who have had come through somewhat of the same situations that I have. And it helped, right? And being open to that and not being so shut down to that, And a lot of times, and again, in the society that we live in, we see things are being so ugly all the time. It's like, I don't want to hear that. But being open and saying, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. And then giving it a shot, man, there's no limit. Connecting and just really having a strong network of individuals that really want to push and see go there. Well, actions speak louder than words. And Mo, coming from those spaces, it's like, listen, I'm going to do whatever I can do to help you get to the other side, but you have to do your part, right? I'm not going to fight your battle harder than you, but if you're fighting, we're going to make sure that we get to the other side of it and you have somewhat of a decent life. Whatever tools that you need to get there, let's make that happen.
That was an important part that I'm glad you came to that point is we're here to help, but you have to take those 2 steps forward too. And, Carly's going to be there to answer the calls. She's going to respond as swiftly as she can, but you can't give up despair and hope. Along that road, I knew that it was a lot of things that I had to challenge myself to raise to another level. And this is an opportunity, once again, for individuals who've had those difficulties and made those mistakes, as we all sometimes do, to raise their level, to come to a point where now that this particular program can help you. And I know when people first hear the program, I know it seems large in the thought when you say 1 million jobs. But if you really be real to yourself, we have 50 states in the union. And if you do the multiplication, that's really not that hard. And as the pilot progresses and gains momentum, there'll be more bigger and larger companies. I know there's some discussion with Amazon and other larger companies. I know CVS is on board. I know Foxwood has asked about being on board, and Scott is working every day to broker those relationships. And it's very important for people to understand that this is not something that normally happens. I can remember being referred to Stop and Shop Warehouse, had a supervisor who was going to vouch for me. As soon as I went there and I filled out the application, the lady looked at me, she said, "You can't get a job here." I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I have a supervisor who's vouching for me and everything." "I don't care what supervisor you have vouching for me. You have a felony on your record and you're not going to be able to get a job here." And she took that application that I filled out right there in the front, and I saw her directly put it in the garbage. And if I could explain the feeling I felt walking out of that factory at that time, knowing the fact that there was an African-American supervisor that had vouched that he would help me get in that company, these type of process through the Million Jobs campaign is actually sitting down with organizations and jobs and getting MOUs that they will agree on to hire individuals that have these blemishes. So I don't want that thought to go away if people understand how hard this is and how hard Scott and his staff is working in behalf to make sure that this happens. So along those lines, Carly, of just thinking of the process of what it takes to make this happen. This wasn't yesterday that you guys just got started. It's been going on for 3 years. Kind of give the community just a little insight of it's not a every morning is not a positive morning. Every morning is not everything pops off. Explain how you have to stay connected with Scott very directly to make sure these phone calls, these meetings, these different things are happening on a daily basis.
So like you said, yeah, everything doesn't go as planned every day. Sometimes, things really are just, it can get crazy every day. We have MOU agreements signed with different agencies, and we're working with different agencies to help get these individuals the job training that they need to get employed. Sometimes individuals aren't very patient with the process, and we always ask to please be patient because we're working very hard trying to get you the training and the help that you need to progress. So yeah, it can be crazy day to day, but just be patient.
And that's our message to the people, is understanding that they are working tirelessly behind these closed doors that you don't get to see, and the different conversations that are had, the political conversations. There's a lot of different things that happen that you don't understand. So it's not just this cakewalk. And so when you call that number, we just want you to be convinced and understand that you have individuals that have your full benefit on the top of their mind, and they're going to work tirelessly to be able to connect those things that you need connected to be in this job fold that we have available. And I can tell you, I started at Yale New Haven Hospital. I'm currently a Yale University employee, and I know that the value of a $30,000 to $40,000 job, especially just coming home from incarceration, right? If you have a blemish on your record. And what we were trying to point to is for you to figure out that number. So if you were to take 500 times 30, that gives you a foreglimpse of how much money would actually be going back into the community. And so we're working hard to make sure that these numbers are showing that. We're making sure that there's a percentage of good jobs that are available. And Carly, can you touch on some of the jobs that they have available at the hospital through the program?
So currently, environmental sciences, patient transport, they're looking for RNs and PCAs, definitely. They're also looking for people to work in food service in the hospital as well. So there's quite a bit of jobs that they're offering. If you go to our website, 1millionjobscampaign.com, there's a whole Dropbox of jobs that the hospital is offering. Also on the application, once you fill out the application, you could pick multiple jobs that you'd be interested in working at the hospital as well.
And so another thing, I'm sure you heard those were just all simple jobs. They're RNs. So they're giving you an opportunity. The second chance is being awarded to you, but you have to take advantage of it. You have to go on the website, look at the information. It takes a little time. Just put your effort and your energy into it. And once again, that number, 888-693-4689. That's 888, toll-free number. You don't have to worry about paying for the call, nothing like that. So just remember, 888-693-4689. Carly, actually, if you can in the chat, put the website, because Harry's asking for that, and he's going to send it out to put the website in the chat. Okay. We're really, as we're moving on, as I tell people, these shows, the time goes by quick. It's already 11:30. We got about 22 more minutes. And where I want to kind of take the conversation, we kind of have been able to understand what the Million Jobs campaign is about. There's MOUs that the Connecticut State NAACP is making with local companies that are willing to hire individuals who have blemish on their records or have been incarcerated. There's 500 current jobs at Yale New Haven Hospital. Is the first major splash that this program has made. And so now what we want everybody to do is to understand is call that number, go up on the website, fill out the application, wait to hear back from Corey and Carly. They'll do an assessment of you. They'll help to place you where you need. Everybody's not going to be on the same level. Some people, they may need some skills to be brushed up on. Some people may be ready to go from the time they call. Everything is intact. But we want everybody to understand that there's going to be an assessment so that everybody may not be on the same level, but we're trying to get you to those same levels. And just to understand the process and have some patience with us. This is a wonderful program that's going to open up a lot of doors for a lot of people who haven't had those chances in the past. But we want the community to wrap their arms around it. We will be contacting all the aldermen in every ward of the 30 wards of New Haven. We want them to be on board with going out and about with us, to spreading this message. We have flyers, we have lawn signs, we have different paraphernalia that will help you to be able to spread this message. But we want the community to really to get a part of this. We just don't want to leave it up to Corey and Carly and then that be it. We really want to wrap our hands around helping out. And Corey, you wanted to say something, question?
I definitely want to say this, Mo, and thanks again for having us. We are definitely going to be statewide. So once we leave Haven, we'll Hartford, Bridgeport, Waterbury, and from definitely.
So it's a statewide initiative that's starting out in New Haven, and then it will be spreading throughout the whole state. And if you listen to those major cities, those are all major cities that having very high violence crimes this year. I think Hartford's over 35 murders this year. I know New Haven was at 25. Waterbury was growing substantially. And so we're showing people that we're coming right here to the heart of where the problem is, and giving some solution-oriented initiatives and programs to change people's lives around and be able to recapture that village where we all continue to look out for each other as we all try to progress together. So we got about 15 minutes left. So I'm going to kind of open up the floor to both of you to just anything you feel you want to touch on that's going to help, our community kind of further get this message. Or, if Corey, if it's just some things that just as you think about in your past that you've overcome that can encourage some of the young people that are listening today. I was very hopeful with today because with us having a storm and everybody being in the house that, some of the young people would get on board as we did the advertisement for the show today. But also, we want people to understand that the show is always recorded and that Tom is able to archive each show and he can even show it again, or you can reach it through going up on the New Haven Independent and looking up Tom Ficklin show, and you would see the recording that we had today, because we want this information to continue to get out to the people. So at this time, we can be going to take about 5 minutes to kind of wrap up, everything in one nutshell of the best way you can interpret this program to the community. And then Carly would ask you to do the same.
And I thank you again, Mo. Share this information, and as you know, information is as get the information and the information to are coming. They have limits, right? Like you said, it takes a village, right? So don't be so reserved and not sharing the information. Share it. And I have to go back to what you started off saying, like there's solution based, right? So if there's any issues, any gaps that you may see that may not be working, or it may help something that may help the initiative to move forward. Like we're open to it. Because again, this is new and things in right. Everybody's trying to figure things out, so we're open to hearing those questions. Don't hesitate. Get the information, man. Let your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, your uncles know that there's opportunities out there. Because a lot of times, right, the people perish because of a lack of knowledge. Share that knowledge so that we don't have to continue to stay there on those islands all by ourselves. Share the information. It's very, very important. That's my biggest thing. Just get it out there, right? New sneakers come out and and new songs are dropping. We're sharing that, right? So this that and this is much bigger than new sneakers because again, this will help your communities build economically. And once you are able to build economically within your communities, the crime rate goes down. People can live somewhat of a decent.
Carly, your thoughts?
So my thoughts are like, me and Corey, we're willing to help everybody who comes through the program. Be patient with us because we're working hard to make this happen. Like Corey said, pass along the information to someone that you might know, someone that might benefit from this program because, I know plenty of people who can benefit from this program. So I pass along that information. And I think it would be great if people who apply to this program to pass along to their family members, friends that they might know that are in a situation where they can't find employment. Also, once you get plugged for our program, we plug you in with an agency. You may not only just need a job, you may need housing, you may need transportation, and we're here to help you with all of that. So definitely pass on the information to people that you might know. You'll see our signs. They're all over New Haven. You'll hear radio ads and TV ads as well. So yes, definitely pass on that information because we're willing to help. And just like I said before, it's not just about getting jobs. We can also help you with a lot of other things too with the agencies that we plug you in with.
Wow, that's great to know. And once again, that phone number, I'm going to keep reiterating, toll-free number. You don't have to worry about paying the bill on the number and will it be charged to your phone. That number is 888-693-4689. That's 888-693-4689. So as we about to close out soon, and it's just was one thing that I wanted to talk about because it really is on my mind and on my heart because I really started to understand it. And it's a word that's called urban branding. And what happens in communities especially communities of color that we don't understand is when we produce negative images, and that's all that's talked about, that's all that's shown, it results in negative behavior. So we have a program right here that we want you guys to see produce positive images, building communities. If you see the logo, whenever you see the sign, it's going to be in yellow, it's bright. You'll see them on poles, you'll see them on the lawns. We want you to understand what that branding is doing. That is helping us as individuals that come from low-income neighborhoods to have hope in a program that's going to boost our economy, that's going to boost our families, that's going to boost the way that we're able to be beneficial in local communities. And that doesn't happen all the time. We always hear about gunshots. We always hear about unemployment. We always hear about negative things in our community that keeps our community stressed out, keeps our people in mental distress. But we want to uplift a program like that that's going to be able, as Corey tell you, share, hit the share button, put it on your Facebook page. Tell your brother, tell your sister, tell your cousin, tell everybody in your family that's locally connected here is that there's an opportunity right now for you to make some changes. We always talk about New Year's resolutions when a new year comes. A new year has just passed. We're in the 7th day of a new year. Take the time out to search for this information and be able to find it to say, hey, not only did that help me, we want to hear those stories. And I know Carly can also tell you that there's going to be reports that have to be put out in reference to this program. So it's not like you just, they can just do whatever they want to and nobody's checking on what they're doing. And, did you guys get anybody a job or not? Does it matter or not? There's reports. Tell them, Carly, there's reports that have to be reported to those that actually have sponsors that sign on.
Yeah, there's definitely reports that need to be made because our numbers have to meet a certain, we have to meet a certain criteria. Like I said, like Mo said, numbers are very, very important with this program. We're trying to get as many people in the door as we possibly can because we want to help people get jobs. There's a lot of people out here that don't have jobs right now. It's hard to get a job without a blemish on your record. So we're here to help those people who do have blemishes and who have been formerly incarcerated get those jobs and get the help that they need. And like I said, we don't only help just with getting jobs. We'll plug you into an agency that might help you with, with housing and transportation. We're partnered with different agencies that might help you with substance abuse, that can help you with mental health issues. We're definitely here to help people who come through this program.
And that's what we call wraparound services. And so many times in our community, that's what the problem is. If there's no wraparound service to help somebody, just for example, if they were able to find somebody a job, but then you had transportation issues and you can't get to the job, then what is that? What problem did we solve? We actually created a bigger problem now because there's an embarrassment that's going to come that you can't fulfill the requirements of the job. So they're explaining to you that they're willing to have wraparound services that help individuals to be able to get to these points where they can be productive again in society. And so we're very delighted. So we're just going to let everybody just be able to say a sign off for 2 minutes and we're going to wrap it up, Harry. We were very thankful to be able to have Corey and Carly today, two young people in our community that's working hard in the behalf of others. We always have to be appreciative of that. That is not something that we want to take for granted. We really appreciate their hard work. As they told you, give them a call, go up on the website, fill out the application. We will definitely get back to you. We will definitely assess you and get you along your way to hopefully to be able to be gainfully employed by this program that's here to help all, and especially those who have blemishes and have been incarcerated formerly. So just give you guys a chance to sign off, say goodnight to the group, and once again, give your encouraging words. Start out with Corey as you wrap up your final thoughts.
Again, Happy New Year. There's a new year. Bless you all. Thanks for having us. And don't be afraid, right? Don't let your fears paralyze you from forward. Don't let door that was shut last week, hinder you from knocking on the door today, right? Keep pushing. It's out there. So make it happen. And again, thanks for having me.
Harley?
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to talk about this initiative and get it out there to people who don't know. Corey and I, we're going to be here every step of the way for people who really, really want that help to find employment. Happy New Year. And it's a new year. It's a New Year's resolutions. If you don't have a job, make it your business to find employment. And we're going to make it our business to make sure that you do find employment.
And once again, before we sign off, that key number, toll free, 888-693-4689. That's 888-693-4689. And as always, here at Real Talk, we wish everybody a prosperous new year. We hope that you understand that we are trying to bring solution-oriented programs and conversations that push to solutions on our program. It will be the first Friday of every month. Some of the topics will change. Of course, it will be pertinent to the community at all times. I know one topic that we're going to be talking and bringing guests up is about the violence that we're seeing in the schools. And so that's a major topic that we want to make sure we get solution to, helping and assisting our young people to understand how important it is to get your education and concentrate on that when you're in schools. But as we sign off today, once again, we'd like to thank the Connecticut NAACP staff, Corey Betts and Carly Knox, for being here today, explaining this wonderful program. People get involved, share the information so that we can get individuals in our community back on the right track. And in this weather, we ask everybody to be careful and everybody still have a great Friday. And we thank you guys for being a part of this program today.
As I got another rhyme, another rhythm, y'all to listen. I'm never quitting on my mission. I'ma roll with what I'm giving. Got some ambition, this new edition, filling positions. Looking at the void in myself and feeling what's missing. Better watch the way you going, better go in the right direction. In the moment you stressing, but you gon' be counting blessings. And I know that for certain. Keep on working, open curtains, haters swerving, cause they ain't ready for your final version. Whoa. I'm never gonna give up, fall down, I just gotta get up, hey.
This is Harry Drills, and you're listening to WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven.
Give up, fall down, I just gotta get up, hey. Yeah, this is my road. Lights, camera, action, I'm ready to go. Way too long, we faced them storms. Now you gon' face the dawn you waited for. I said from night to dawn, I right my wrongs alone. In competition with warnings, ice galore. Now I'm running toward it, my lights unfinished, being a quitter. But little by little, they joking, telling some riddles. Now I'm in my section, they ain't willing to give up. Know you getting knocked down, but you gotta get up. I'm never gonna give up.